Hello, everyone. I'm Ali with Different Brains, and welcome to the Different Brains Speaker Series, the first installment of our webinar series for caregivers. Different Brains is a nonprofit that strives to encourage understanding and acceptance of neurodiversity. Our mission has three pillars. One, to mentor neurodiverse adults and maximize their potential for employment and independence. Two, to increase awareness of neurodiversity by producing media. And three, to foster the new generation of neurodivergent self-advocates. Here at Different Brains, we promote awareness through production of a variety of media content, including our video web series, blogs, podcasts, and documentaries, all available for free on our website. All of our content is worked on by those in the mentorship program, through which we aid individuals in taking the first step towards achieving their goals and finding their voice. To find more information or to make a tax-deductible donation, please visit our website at differentbrains.org. Before we start, I want to invite everyone to send questions using the Q&A feature in Zoom or by putting questions in the chat box. This webinar will also have live closed captioning, which can be controlled using the CC button on your Zoom dashboard. And now I'm going to hand it over to Carolina.
Thank you, Ellie. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our first series for caregivers. My name is Carolina Leon. I'm a counselor. I'm also the founder of RCS Exclusive Therapy, and I've worked with a lot of children with special needs, and of course, their caregivers. And this is an opportunity that the three of us get to be able to give back to the caregivers and help them take care of themselves so they can continue to take care of others. I will introduce my colleagues, Melodie and Patty.
I could go next. Thank you, Carolina. My name is Patty Fasano. I'm also a clinical and mental health counselor, therapist. I work with mostly the children and the adults on the autism spectrum and their caregivers. I also co-wrote a book with Dr. Haki Reitman from Different Brains called The Asper Tools, the Practical Guide for Understanding and Embracing Asperger's, Autism Spectrum Disorder, and Neurodiversity. And I'm really excited about this webinar. So thank you for coming. And go ahead, Melodie.
Thank you, Patty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Melodie Plaise, and I am a third-year doctoral counseling student at Barry University. I own a private practice that is driven by a mission to decolonize and destigmatize mental health care. And I really look forward to just having a meaningful conversation with everyone tonight. Thank you for coming.
Every workshop that we give, we're going to start with a different mindfulness activity. So this one is called the Peaceful Place. And so if you could just, wherever you are, if you can get into a comfortable spot, comfortable position, and I'm just going to walk you through a relaxation technique. It's sort of a mindfulness meditation, if you will, in order to get us in this habit and sort of engaging in mindfulness activities and practicing self-care, which is really our whole intent for this webinar series. So begin to think about what is a peaceful place for you. So think about, what do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? If it feels comfortable for you, you can close your eyes. You know, this is an imaginary place or an area that can help you feel calm and relaxed when you're feeling stressed. Begin by setting aside a few minutes so that you can begin to feel relaxed without having anything else that you need to focus on. Find a comfortable position in your chair or if you're standing, wherever you may be. And breathe in and out. And take another couple of seconds and breathe in and out. Continue to breathe slowly and peacefully as you allow the tension to leave your body. Release and sort of notice any areas of tension and relax those areas in your muscle and become more comfortable with each breath. Continue to let the breath relax you. And we're going to breathe in and hold it a little bit. and out. And again, we're going to do it once more. Breathe in and out. Continue to breathe slowly, gently, and comfortable for you, whatever that looks like. And now begin to create a picture in your mind of a place where you can completely relax. Imagine what this place needs to be like for you in order to feel calm and relaxed. And take a deep breath in and out. Now you can begin to picture a little bit more details of this place. Who is with you? What do you hear? What do you smell? What are those things that help you feel calm and a sense of relaxation? And breathe in and breathe out. Now enjoy your peaceful place for a few moments. Memorize what you see, what you hear, what you smell. You know, what are those things that really bring you peace? And in these last few moments of this relaxation exercise, think of how can you return to this place for a quick recharge. Memorize what you see. And when you're ready to return, you can open your eyes if you close them, and you can file this place, your imaginary place, somewhere in your mind and in your heart. And whenever you need it, you can return back to it. All right. Thank you all for joining us in this activity. Any thoughts on what this brought up for you? And you can put it in the chat if you don't mind. And I'll give you a few seconds. Just relaxing and breathing. Thank you. Melodie, and I saw you relax too. That's awesome.
Mhm.
A reminder to live in the moment where my feet stand. I love that. Thank you, Joy. All right. I have gained a peacefulness in my relaxation of mind that I have and living in the moment. Thank you, Michael. That's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to begin sharing a PowerPoint for you. But as Melodie and Patty mentioned earlier, we really want this to be for you. So if there's any questions or any comments that you want to make, please feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll take a minute and make sure we get to it. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. And again, like I mentioned before, this is our first webinar series of 5. And this particular one is on self-care and mindfulness, presented by myself, Carolina Leon, Melodie Plaise, and Patty Fasano. And we are so very excited to have everyone here. All right, so some of what we're going to do today is our learning objectives is really, we want to increase caregivers' awareness of the importance of self-care, be able to provide caregivers with just practical tools and interventions, or just a little breathing exercise like we just did, to help balance your roles and being able to engage in self-care practices and mindfulness practices. So if you all can chime in the chat, what is self-care for those that have joined us so far? And I'll let Melodie read those out, because when I share, I can't see anything else. Melodie or Patty, either one.
One answer is sleep. Yes.
Sleep. Very important.
Just taking care of yourself, taking walks or going to get your hair done, anything like that is a great self-care.
That's right.
Saying
Thank
no
you,
is one.
Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to start putting them on here as people continue to put them in there, right? And you could just read them out Melodie or Patty, if you don't mind, as they come in.
Of course. So listening to a podcast, even coming here tonight was self-care, right? Helping, putting yourself first. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not when I said it.
Nice to walk. Yeah, absolutely. Working out. Yes.
Yes.
Time to do what you want by yourself. OMG. Yes. That's so hard right now for me with a 1-year-old. Saying no, absolutely. Yes, it's understanding my needs and making sure they get met. Absolutely. Preaching to the choir. Thank you for all of these. Like, these are so like deep and meaningful. I love that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yes, having time for myself, for my own interests and hobbies. Love it. Long drives with my hubby. Oh, I love those too.
That is awesome. So
Yeah.
here are some that we came up with, but as Melodie has been reading them out, it's endless, right? Self-care for anybody, for everybody is gonna look a little different, but all those that you all shared, thank you, and those are amazing, right? Sometimes just staying home. For me, if I have time, if I can go anywhere and read a book, it's a good day, because nowadays you just don't have time for anything, right? So setting boundaries. Somebody else said working out, that's also a big one for me. So I love that self-care can be so many things for everybody. Patty and Melodie, what about you? What are some of those self-care needs for you, or self-care that you practice?
I like going for walks. I think just using your senses as you go for walks is really important. So listening to the birds or smelling the, cut grass and stuff like that. I really, really do think that's how I, some of my self-care.
Thanks, Patty.
And for me, it's really just, as I've seen some people say, like just being able to like take care of your own needs and meeting your own needs, right? Like making sure like as a parent or as a caregiver, like it's hard to kind of like find time to do anything for yourself, right?
Yes.
So just being able to like get my hair done, get my nails done, or like just the simplest things, I absolutely love. And just going for morning walks, even though those are not by myself, like they're with the baby, but she's usually like knocked out in the stroller, so it feels like it's by myself. So like those are awesome.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing. All right. So then what is mindfulness? When you hear this word mindfulness, what comes up for you? And again, if you could put it in the chat, one of the ladies will read it for us. What is this thing called mindfulness?
Yes, one answer is staying in tune with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
I really think that mindfulness, it can be so many things. It can be whatever, just like, self-care. It is what you make it, Yes.
Like Anna wrote that she loves reading a really good book, which is really a great way to escape, or if you can't get away, that's a great way to get away, right? Reading a book. Breathing and resting, focusing on your breathing and your resting part. Going to a quiet room.
Noise canceling headphones. Yes.
That's a great one.
I do have a set of those.
Yeah. You all need a set of those, right? Yes. Mindful of your surrounding and being content of yourself and the beauty of quietness. I love that.
That is beautiful.
Very good, Michael. Sounds horrible, but can't do anything else. Ice cream, low fat.
That is great self-care too.
Yes.
All right. So thank you all for sharing. So how mindfulness is one of the definitions of mindfulness, because I'm sure you can find many, right? But in this case, it's the awareness that sort of emerges through paying attention on purpose, which is sort of what everybody has chimed in the chat, right? Being in the moment, non-judgmental, and just sort of letting things unfold and experiencing the moment to moment, right? And I think I see in the chat compassion, non-judgment, being in the present. So that is exactly what we're seeing. And it is truly being able to take, even if it's 3 or 4 minutes for yourself and just disconnecting, right? Now in a world where everything is technology, which is great because it brought us together, right? But being able to disconnect for a little bit and doing whatever feels right for you, however you can feel in the moment, and be present for self, right? All right. And so again, sort of everything we've talked about a little bit. What is mindfulness is seeing your life as it is happening, sort of noticing those thoughts that arise without needing to dive into them, but just letting them flow through you, right? Accepting a current situation without judgment or struggle, or if you struggle, leaning into that struggle and saying, how can I get through this, right? And allowing for you to have that peace and that mindfulness of, okay, this is temporary and we're going to get through the struggle. So taking actions based on what you feel in your heart rather than old habits or short-term ease or solutions, right? So being mindful of what feels right for you. And sort of again, allowing feelings to exist without letting them drive your actions, right? So making decisions based on thoughtful decisions and not so much emotional driven, right? And as some said here, you know, quiet room or enjoying those silent moments, however short they may be, enjoying that. Will the slideshow be available to us? Sure, I don't see why not. We could definitely have it be made available to you. We could even maybe put it in a format where you could take notes next to it.
Carolina, it also could be viewed on Different Brains website.
That's right. You could also view this. So this is being recorded, so it could be viewed on the Different Brains website. So you will have it there. But if you would like it emailed, I'm sure we could make that happen as well. So now we're going to get into sort of a toolbox, right? So these are also some additional mindfulness, you know, exercises that you can continue to add into your toolbox to take care of yourselves as caregivers. Okay. So being here, being present, taking breaths, we'll go through them. And if at any time you need me to stop or go back or explain something, just put it in the chat. So our first sort of toolkit is one that Patty really does a beautiful job at explaining. So I'm gonna let you tackle this one, Patty.
Okay, so in the morning, sometimes we get up and we don't know where to go first, right? We have so much going on in our lives. So one of the things I do in the morning, I always make myself a cup of tea, the first thing. And many of us do. We make coffee, tea in the morning. But to keep and get into that mode of mindfulness, to understand it, is as you're like making your coffee or brewing, brewing your coffee or doing the tea, to actually use your senses in this time. So what you want to do is, like, as you're making the coffee, let's say you're putting the scent, you're smelling the scent of the coffee being made, right? Or you're listening to it dripping, anything you're doing just to use your senses on. Even picking up the coffee pot and feeling the actual coffee on your hands, feeling the warmth. And this is a way that as you're drinking your coffee slowly, just be mindful of that moment of what's going on around you. What are you tasting? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? Stay in that moment. And that's a great tool to add to your toolkit for a mindfulness activity. you know, and that's easy to do, right? As you're drinking, this is your time. You know, sometimes we drink coffee or tea in the morning and we like, oh, is this a second or third cup? We're not even sure because our mind is going millions of places, right? So we want to stay in that moment. And the way to stay in it is to really concentrate on your senses. So that's a great tool to put in your toolkit. So I hope that helps. Thank you, Carolina.
Thanks, Patty. For me, it's coffee. For Patty, it's tea. But for me, it's that smell of coffee in the morning.
Michael, I agree. It is a feeling, a way of content, right? So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And so another one is sort of what we did at the beginning, just really focusing on your breath, being able to take those deep breathing exercises, right? Breathing in for a few seconds, then out for a few seconds, repeating it as much as it feels comfortable for you. And you could do this throughout the day, right? If you are still working remote, as a lot of us still are, you can, you know, sit in your chair and really engage in these breathing exercises for a few seconds throughout the day, just to reconnect with yourself and then be able to connect back to whatever it is that you're doing. Another one of these pieces in your toolbox, which is one of my favorite, is lighting a candle, right? Lighting your favorite candle, maybe it's your favorite scent, and being able to just see the flame sway and flicker back and forth, sort of observing your thoughts, and again letting them pass without judgment, and seeing what comes up for you. Maybe you need a breather, so getting away from whatever room you're in, maybe go to another room and light that candle, let the smell sort of surround you, and see what it brings up for you. And just really being mindful of, okay, I need this moment for myself right now. And then getting back to whatever it is you're doing, especially as caregivers. I'm sure you're pulled 1,000 different ways. So being able to have as much as you can in your toolbox to take some time for yourself so you could continue to do what you do is very important. All right, I'm going to invite Melodie in.
Thank you, Carolina. All right, so another tool that we have that you can add to your toolkit is journaling. And for me, that's one of my favorite things to do. And I think that's why I explain it so well, or I talk about it so passionately. But because journaling can look so differently for like it, you do what feels right to you. It could be like an old notebook that you sometimes write notes in, or how you're feeling, or how your day went, and or it could even be like a formal journal, or it could be something even with a lock, not to call it a diary or anything, right? But you know, it could look differently for so many of us. And some of the things that you can do as you journal is you can set intentions for your day. Set, like, you know, like, how do you want your day to go? What are some things that you have planned? What are some things that you want to accomplish for the day, right? What are some of your goals for that day? It's good to write them down and be able to look back and reflect on them, which is where the reflecting part comes in, right? Being able to look back at things that you've journaled or written in the past and seeing, like, how is that different from where I am now? What worked back then? What did not work back then? What's working now? What's not working now? It's just a good way for us to kind of like just really take some time with ourselves to really think about how we're feeling deeply inside, right? And then another one of my favorites is positive affirmations. Those are just ways of training your brain to really value you as a person, as the person that you are, valuing you for you, right? And they can be a range of things. You can say, I am smart, I am loved, I'm an amazing caregiver, you know, it could go on and on, or even I'm going to have an amazing day. So many different things that you can, even things that you set as intentions, right? And for the beginning of your day, I'm going to have a good day, or I hope to have a good day today. Repeat that to yourself throughout the day. As soon as you close that journal, don't forget about that. continue reflecting on that, continue thinking about that throughout the day, and look back at it too. Don't just like forget about it. It's always good to go back and see how differently life was back then versus now. I'll pass it back to Carolina.
Thank you, Melody. And that is one of, and if you're caregiving, depending on the population that you're caring for, let's say you're caring for somebody younger, you could also include them in it, right? These positive affirmations and sort of saying them to one another or feed off of one another, and really building this mindfulness atmosphere and really reframing it to these positive toolkits, right? Thank you, Melody, for sharing. And so this is one of my favorite sort of exercises, and it's a foot grounding exercises, right? So if you're feeling a bit jittery, or if you are, again, in front of the computer, like a lot of us are, and you feel a little tired, going outside, having your feet on the ground, walking barefoot a little bit and seeing how walking back and forth with each step, how your weight shifts from center to the ball of your foot, really maintaining a steady breath throughout this exercises. And while there's still, the research is a little bit up in the air on this particular practice, which is called earthing, there is some experts, they do suggest that this could help, with stress, improving blood flow and sleep, right? So, and this particular exercise, whether you do it on grass or at the beach, on the sand, this can also be used for the individual that you're caring for, right? To connect both of you to nature, or simply a change of scenery. So that, for me, this is one of my favorite ones, right? Because you can go to the beach, or you could do it outside in the grass area, and just sort of connecting with nature. And again, being mindful on your breath, and repeating a couple of times, again, in and out, and just doing this 3 to 5 times, or whatever feels comfortable for you. And it's grounding yourself and really just connecting with nature. And lastly, like our last little piece of our slide, and then we can get into the Q&A, is mindfulness is really an ounce of happiness, right? So the more you do it, the more comfortable you would be, and the more that you will be making things intentional and just really mindful about enjoying the little things and the great things that are around us. So again, we thank you all for being here with us today, and we will go over to the Q&A portion. And if you want to hear more about us, or you want to reach out with any questions or comments or anything, please feel free to do so. And I'm going to kick it back to Ali for any questions or anything that has to be answered.
Thank you, ladies. So
Thank you.
yes, of course. So everyone, you can go ahead and plug in questions in the Q&A feature on Zoom. You can kind of move your mouse to show the dashboard on the bottom of the Zoom screen, and click the Q&A feature, or you can just plug in your questions in the chat. Okay, so the first question is, what would be the best way to achieve real mindfulness of peace?
So that's a great question. And so this is one of those things that really, with practice, you're going to gain that peace and that mindfulness, right? So I can reflect on my journey with mindfulness. When I first began to engage in it, it was a little awkward, right? To focus on your breath. And I was like, oh, at some point your mind starts to wander. But then the more you do it, and the more you practice, and the more you allow for whatever comes to your head, and just sort of table it for a minute and just focus on the here and now, really the more peace that you will get. But really, it is, mindfulness is very repetitious, like everything else, right? If we want to get good at something, you really have to practice. And there are many YouTube videos that you can find that will guide you through maybe a peaceful place or guided imagery of different mindfulness exercises. I don't know if Melodie and Patty, you want to add anything to that?
I think you said it beautifully. I think practice makes perfect when it comes to mindfulness, right? The more you practice mindfulness, the more you'll feel comfortable with it, the more you'll get use out of it, the more you'll crave it when you haven't, engaged in it in a while. So practice it. Use some of the tools we showed you or presented to you tonight, or even like quickly look it up on YouTube or Google, or just find something that works for you, something that speaks to you, something that aligns with who you are. And that's the best way to get started. Make it interesting to you.
I agree, Melodie. And I loved your way of saying it, Carolina. I think of when you're beginning the mindfulness part and not knowing, find something that really is passionate to you. If you like the beach, then start using the beach things, like listening to the ocean or having things around your home like sand or anything that you can touch or smell or anything that relates to the passion that you absolutely love to do. That's how you can actually begin it, because I think that's when you start connecting with something that you already love, that just makes you go do it more, right? So that's another part that you might think of when you're trying to find the piece, the actual piece of the mindfulness.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next question is from Joy. Any suggestions for how to find a psychologist that works for TBI patients and accepts insurance?
It's really difficult because unfortunately there are some insurance companies or some psychologists that are not accepting insurance. But on the flip side, I think that the best way to go about that is really to contact the insurance company and get a list, right? It might be a little bit tedious, but that will really be your best way, only because then you have a list of approved providers versus trying to find providers and see who takes your insurance. So if you haven't done that already, that might be the best way to go, is get a list from your insurance company. Melodie and Patty, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
No, the only thing I would add is, in addition to like getting the list, when you're making the choice, you can call and ask, you're able to kind of like interview the physician in a way, or the doctor or the psychologist, to see if they're a good fit before you decide to go with them. But definitely going through your insurance's list is the best way, because they will be qualified or they will be eligible to provide services.
Yes, thank you, Melodie. And I agree, don't feel that if, let's say you start with a psychologist and it may not be a fit, don't be afraid to try to go, another route or try another psychologist. It's sort of the same thing as with a medical doctor. You may not necessarily vibe or feel comfortable with one, you go to another one, right? You get a second opinion. So same thing for mental health or for psychology. And Patty, I think you're muted. I apologize.
Oh, no. I agree with both of you. Just keep searching, because don't give up. You just have to keep searching and you'll find one, there's so much out there. There's so much out there. And even like, I would agree with you, Carolina, go to your insurance company, see who would help you, support you in that, but just keep calling around and you'll find someone. And we will put that in our resources and look it up also. So in our future webinars, we can even see if we could even support you there too.
Okay, another question is, how can you get your family on board to allow you the space for self-care?
So this is a difficult one, right? But
Carolina, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, good. So this might be one where you have to begin to establish those boundaries and maybe start small, right? And letting them know, listen, I need 5 minutes for myself and I'll be back. I need to recharge. However you want to frame it, however it is best for you. And I think, again, it's one of those things where the more you do it and the more consistent you are with it, they'll begin to understand. And you can say, I need a minute. I need 5 minutes. Start off small and then go from there. And then if they're on board and maybe, they see that you are being mindful and that you are really engaging in that self-care, if they're curious, maybe teaching them, sort of letting them know what it's about. But really, it goes back to establishing those boundaries and letting them know, I need a minute, right? I need to recharge. Melody, Patty, I don't know if you want to add anything.
So the one thing I always think about is when we get on an airplane, right? I always think of this. And if something's happening, they tell you when the oxygen mask drops down, you have to support yourself first. You got to put it on yourself before you put it on your child. And that's only because to help having you in control of taking care of someone, right? So you have to think of that at home too. Think of you have to get that charge in to help your children or your husband or your parents or whoever you're caregiving for. So always think of that. Like it's something you kind of have to do. You have to recharge yourself. If not, you're not going to be really good as a caregiver for the children or the adults because you're not charged yourself. So you're going to wear yourself out and actually get burned out. So you have to be careful and always make sure you do spend that time for yourself. Even if you have to walk away from the situation and just give everyone a timeout and you walk away and you have to give yourself those few minutes to recharge.
I think the only thing I would add to that, which I've added to the chat, is that you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You want to, as Patty was saying, you want to recharge, you want to refill your own cup before you're able to pour to others. So taking care of yourself is definitely essential.
Okay, so another question we have is, any tips for working self-care into a set routine?
We go back to this notion of repetition, right? A routine is really those things that you have to do every day, right? So we wake up, we brush our teeth, whatever it is that you need to do, you wash your face, right? It's repetitious. It's every day you have to do the same thing. You have to eat, right? So really building it into your daily routines in whatever capacity it feels good for you. Maybe it's during coffee time. Maybe it's, I don't know, after lunch or before lunch. So building it into something that you already do will definitely help you make it a routine and make it a habit and really be mindful of including it in your daily routines and activities, right? Any additions, Patty or Melody?
No, I think you said it beautifully. Yeah. It's important to put it in as a routine. Like getting up in the morning, having your cup of coffee, that's a routine, right? Just keep building on that.
Another question is, can I learn to practice mindfulness on my own?
Yes, definitely. Again, it's sort of very repetitious, right? And it has to feel comfortable for you. So again, I go back to my journey on mindfulness, and I would start with my dog. I, I have a bulldog, and her and I would just be out back, and I would just pet her and focus on my breathing, right? And that's kind of how I started. And from there, it kind of trickled down into other areas, really enjoying, like Patty said, enjoying a walk, being able to have those moments for self before taking care of your family, right? And so again, it goes back to that repetition and really finding what works for you. If it's the beach, going to the beach and just enjoying, maybe just sitting there, listening to the waves, right? Or smelling the beach air. Anything that just feels right for you and that you can connect with. Patty, Melody?
And Carolina, all I would add is if they're having trouble doing it on their own, if you Google anything like guided meditation, anything like that, you will find all these different sites that you can actually click, and it would help and guide you through it if you really are struggling in the beginning to do it on your own. Or some people like to do both. They like to do it on their own, in addition to actually doing a guided meditation, because I still do both. I mean, I like some guided meditations. So I really enjoy it, especially in the evening. I put headphones on and I just listen to it. So yeah, you could try that. I hope that works for you.
Thanks, Patty.
And the last question is, are there any apps or websites you recommend for mindfulness?
Well, there are, I know we've used in the past the Weebot, and Melody, I don't know if you could put it in the chat because I always say it wrong. There you go. So it's in the chat, and it does guide you through some mindfulness activities and different sort of activities. But as Patty mentioned, you can also look up in YouTube or in Google different guided mindfulness activities. And so that could help you to get started on the mindfulness journeys. Obviously, if you, or there's an AI, Melody, tell us about that one.
No, so it's the same one you're talking about. It's the Woolbot. So it's really an AI powered application where you make an account, you sign in, you're able to have little chats and back and forths with the AI. They also provide tools. So if you say like, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, they'll ask you like, do you want to like talk about it, or would you like me to offer you some tools? So like, I really like I enjoyed using it as well when we were using it for class, right, and learning about it. So it's a really good tool that you're able to like just download on your phone and start using it and have someone literally at your fingertips and who's willing and able to give you so many resources. So yeah, I love it.
Thanks, Melody.
I ditto that, Melody. I do too. I use that like at least once a week if I'm really frustrated or I just want to have someone to talk to about something. I just do it. It's my virtual therapist. So yes, it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so any final thoughts, ladies, before we end it off today?
No, I think we thank you all for being here with us and taking this mindful journey with us. We really hope to see you on the rest of our series. So we have 4 more, and it'll be Wednesdays at 6:30. And so thank you all for really taking this journey with us.
Absolutely. And I agree. Like, thank you. As I was reading who was in the room, who was in the space, I saw so many, parents who are or even like employees or people who are working to care for others. And the fact that you're taking this time to even be here, that alone is self-care. And I want you to like acknowledge that like you're wanting to learn more about this and you're taking this time for yourself. But thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. It means the world to us. We really hope to see you in our 4 remaining webinars. Next week, we will be talking really just about networking for caregivers. So we hope to see you there next week at the same time, 6:30 Eastern.
I also want to thank everyone. This has been such a pleasure to do this, and we're looking forward to the next webinars. And again, if you need to see this again or want to share it with your friends, just go on to Different Brains and you'll see that. So thank you again for coming and being with us at this time.
Thank you so much to our amazing presenters, and thank you everyone for attending. Be sure to come back, like they said, in 1 week for the 2nd installment. And like Patty said, we will be sharing links and contact information for everyone in the chat box and on the screen. From everyone here at Different Brains, good night.